didn't see anything.
I know.
First meeting. Katie already said that it's weird. I agree. It's giving me Big Bang Theory vibes.
Mhm.
No? Anybody?
Her
Yeah.
person like that, where she's not very like social.
Mhm.
I just feel like, I mean, I haven't watched the Big Bang Theory like a lot, but the few episodes I have watched, you know how they're always talking about like they're in the cafeteria and they're eating? That's what
Yeah.
that reminds me of. And I'm just like, oh, I don't know, it's quite interesting. But I also just finished right now and I can't believe he died.
I know. At first, I thought they were talking about the dog
Me too.
because they were like, he died 37 minutes later, and I thought, where, what happened? How does the dog die? I thought the leash, like, he was off leash and then he got hit by a car. But
I think a dog being involved just made it worse and more sad for me. I was just
Yeah.
like, no.
And the dog probably feels like it's his fault.
Mhm.
And he's already traumatized.
Is that like a scientific term, 6:30? Is that like some type of important number?
I think it was just like the time of day or something that they found him, or
Oh,
the
okay.
store maybe.
Yeah, I don't think it's anything important, just the time.
Yeah, I was confused by that. And I feel like maybe Calvin was just asking, well, I think he was telling what's her name? Elizabeth, that she had a follower and like she somehow thought of the time because I don't think she knew about the dog, right? That was following her.
I'll find it. Yeah, I did say like, oh, it was like at this time I went to the store or something.
Yeah, and then she's like, oh yeah, it's 6:30, like if she's just looking at the time. And
Mhm.
I'm pretty sure like they didn't mention it, but then he's probably like, oh no, I was talking about the dog or something. No. And they're like, well, let's keep him and name him that.
Nerd.
It's very like I feel like I'm nerdy and I like science, but I don't know. Interesting.
Chemists are a different kind of breed.
They are. Paolo was telling me that characters are like stereotypical, like scientists.
Oh, really?
What'd you say?
Like
scientists don't have emotions, kind of stereotype.
They just all they're all data driven. That's all that.
I can see
I
that.
can see it. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't want to like tell you too much, but I just don't get why people love this book. I hope something happens.
I
'Cause
felt the
it's-
same way.
Yeah, I'm just like, I mean, this is book of the year at Barnes and Noble. I'm like, everyone I know is like 5 out of 5. Like someone else on Instagram was like 5 out of 5.
Yeah.
I'm like, why do people love this so much? But I thought it was like really depressing and like you have this good relationship. Like he's kind of maybe gonna win the Nobel and then it just all ends. So, and I don't know.
It is sad, yeah.
I feel like it's very
it's kinda too
random.
sad.
It
Like
is
the
very-
series of events are very random. And,
Yeah.
and then like they don't really talk about anything in that much depth. And they just go on to like the next thing. Like she was raped and then she works for the scientist and then he dies. It's just like all these different things.
That's true. I think it's like I like it so far, but I do agree with you. It's kind of sad and a little bit disturbing in a way. Like also, I just think it's weird how the book keeps saying that everyone hates her and Calvin. Like, oh, they can't stand them. Oh, look at them having their lunch and working. It's just like, I don't know, like if that seems like real to me or not. I mean, I think they're probably really jealous, but I think also like I don't know how much other people are like obsessed with other people, you know? Maybe it's because they all work at the same place, but I find like that part to be kind of like negative, you know?
I didn't understand that either. And I didn't know if it was like the author trying to be funny.
Mm-hmm.
like have some type of comedy.
I feel like it's just weird to me because it just goes back to the stereotypes of like, oh, she's only with him to advance her career. And so it's like irksome to me.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I do like the fact that she's bringing that up, that she's like, oh, because it is back in the what, 50s, 60s or something.
Mhm.
And the fact that that professor, you know, was like, no, I'm gonna bump you down or you have to get out of here because, you know,
Mhm.
you're a woman and oh, it's not up to your pace or whatever. And like the men are in charge. I can see that. And I
Yeah.
kind of like that. But it's kind of sad that Calvin, like even when they were talking about marriage, um, he was like, oh no, but maybe. And she's like, no, I don't want kids. I don't want marriage. And she's like, I'm not gonna change my name. And then when
Mhm.
she flipped the switch and she's like, would you change your name? He's like, no, it's because I'm famous. And I'm like,
Mhm.
Double standard for
but it's
sure.
not because you're famous. It's because men aren't doing it, you know? Like I'm just like, ugh. So I like that part because that's
Mhm.
true. And that's what I'm pretty sure it's like the reality of then and I think still now.
I agree.
So I like that, but it is very random and like they're just so perfect in
Mhm.
like a scientific way, you know, like she's beautiful and super smart.
Mhm.
And he's not that great looking, but when he smiles,
Mhm.
I'm like, oh,
True.
okay.
It's like they have it all, but in reality, like in real life, most people like don't have it all.
Yeah, yeah. It's quite interesting.
Also, didn't really like how when she was taken off the project, she told Kelvin not to interfere. And then he still did, and then he was all happy about it. But I'm like, no, like I feel like if she found out, I mean, I don't know if she will now that he has passed, but
Yeah.
I feel like she wouldn't be happy about it.
Mhm.
That's what I was thinking, and I don't know. Like maybe they were good for each other in that moment, but is that really like the person she's supposed to be with who's not respecting her wishes? Even though it was
Mhm.
back in the day, he's pretty
Yeah,
good for a man. Um, but just not believe it because that shows me he doesn't really believe in her that she could do it on
right.
her own.
Yeah. Or he's just like super, like his ego is just like, oh, I'll help her. Like she'll
Mhm.
never know. And I'm just like, maybe he doesn't, because he doesn't a bit attractive, but then that part of him pops up, and I'm like, no, you're still showing that you're just like any other man, even though you're like, oh, I love her, and you can tell he's like obsessed with her and all that stuff. But I'm like, mm-mm.
But it didn't seem like that healthy, yeah. Because like
Yeah.
how he was fixating, the obsession is a good word, I think, to describe it. Because of how he was like, I think he was traumatized for sure. Like he's like, oh, okay, she's gonna do this, she's gonna die or get hurt, and I'm gonna drive to work so we can all drive back together. But I feel like I don't know, it's really sad that he died, but I just think like I feel bad like because it's evil. I'm just like if it's raining and slippery, like I don't know if it's the best idea. And I think like maybe the author made that happen to cause like this event. I kind of felt like he was gonna die because when we see her in the future, like he's not there and she has a little girl. So I'm just trying to see like what will happen now. Like will she ever find out like that's why he was on a jog because he wanted to be with her? Is she gonna feel bad? And like when is she gonna find out she's pregnant? Like is it Calvin's or is she Calvin's or is it like from a future like partner?
I was
That's what
thinking that of that too.
yeah.
And the way it even started too, I was confused because it's like they're talking about the girl, the
Yeah.
child,
Mhm.
but the story is the mom. It's Calvin
Mhm.
and Elizabeth. But we get
Mhm.
introduced to, is it Madeline or
Yeah,
Mhm.
Madeline.
and I'm like,
I got confused
why
with
bring her
her.
up? Because it is
Mhm.
the mom's story.
Yeah.
So I think that like that's in the back of my head. I'm like,
Mhm.
why are we getting her point of view in a way?
Yeah. I thought it was sad too that she doesn't really want to be in the TV industry, but just like she has to because it's like it pays better.
At first I was confused about that too, but then I kind of liked that they like spoke about the present and then went back kind of like to show how she came to be where
Mhm.
she's at. Because at first I thought because he's known for holding grudges, right? So
Mhm.
I thought something like major was gonna happen because she hadn't said, "Oh, like why is it that you hold grudges, or do you really like go after people and try to
Mhm.
ruin their lives?" So I thought he was gonna do something to ruin her life, like
Oh,
they'd get so
dang.
mad, and then he
For
was
the
gonna do
Beakers?
something. No, not for the Beakers. This was
Oh.
after,
In
like once
general.
they're already in a
Oh,
relationship.
okay.
Yeah,
The marriage and the kids and
yeah,
all that.
yeah.
This
So that's where I was like, oh, I didn't think he was gonna die.
Mhm.
It's kind of ironic.
I thought the scientist rival, the one that was like, oh, he doesn't remember who I am, was going to do something to them too, because he seemed to be really spiteful.
Mhm.
That Donati guy reminds me so much of Eddie.
Donati, thank you.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Eddie from the previous book.
good
I'm just
point.
like, you're so annoying and you think you're so
Oh.
great. Like the fact that he's like, ugh, I don't like Calvin. So now I'm gonna create this plan to steal his girl. And I'm gonna destroy her self-esteem, and I'm gonna do this, and look at me, now I'm his boss, I'm better than him. And I'm like, can we
His
leave
wor-
Eddie behind? Like he's following us.
his worldview is so small and petty, and I
Mhm.
think he definitely underestimated the main character.
Yeah.
Or some people have really big egos, I guess.
I didn't get my book on time, so I had to read it on Kindle. This
Mhm.
is new to me.
It's weird.
It's new to me because it's like on my I have it on my phone.
Oh,
Mhm. Oh, okay.
So the Kindle I have is my sister's,
Mhm.
and every time I use it, I buy books through her account, and she's like, "Did he do this?" And I'm like, "Oh shit, I'm sorry. I thought it was my account." So I'm like,
Oh,
"Let me
does it
just
go
get
to
it
her
through."
card and everything?
Yeah, she's like, excuse me, why did you charge? So I've done that twice, and I was like, okay, I'm not doing it 3 times. So I did it on my phone. I'm like,
My sister has done that. Yeah, my sister has gotten subscriptions on Amazon, and then I get charged. But one time it was like, I think she bought a movie and it was like $25. I'm like, what are you doing? Young one, stop.
5. It used to happen to me too with the Kindle. But somehow it were generated to Juan's card. I don't know why.
Now you buy your books on Juan's card.
somehow.
Somehow. So then I deleted his card, so I didn't do that anymore.
I should do that to Rico's card.
Like, oops.
Oh, there was I think it was her professor, the one that raped her in Myers.
That was sickening.
It was disgusting.
Mhm.
But I was a bit triggered because he took credit from students, and I mean, not that like I was a professor ever, but it just reminded me of this one girl that was my lab partner, and she literally like would go online and just flip the sentences, and she would just turn it in like that. And yeah, and I was out here actually doing the work. So when I would review, or like when I actually saw the report, and she would say that I wasn't doing my work or I was taking too long, and I'm like, I'm actually doing the work. You're fucking plagiarizing, bro. So I was like,
Oh.
ah, I hate that, how people just do that and they get away with it.
Oh my gosh, that triggered a memory that one time for, I think, the prereqs or the credential program, we had to do like the social science like study thing. And it was a group project, and I hate working group projects. And this, I don't know how, like I searched up something and I came up with like this exact paragraph, a couple of paragraphs that another girl had like literally just pasted into our paper, and I got so nervous because I like my name was on that too. And so I sent her a message and I was like, hey, like this looks really similar to another resource I found. Can you please change it so it's not exactly the same? And she was like, oh, sorry, la. I'm like, that's messed up. And then when I did the astronomy seminar in the summer, I remember being like with physics majors, and there was 2 liberal studies students, and we were helping with the writing. And I remember the mentor guy, I think like he did this program because he also like could get his name on the papers we wrote, because he was like, oh, I've been on like hundreds of papers. And I remember like he called me a secretary a couple of times and I was so mad. And I'm just like, really? I mean, the physics people obviously can do stuff that I'm not trained for, but they can't write very well. And it was really funny to kind of like see them try, like they were explaining the stuff to me and they're like, this is what we want to say. And I'm like, okay, let me see what you've got. And then I would read their paragraphs and they were like horrible. And then I'm like, okay, like we can edit this, you know, but it definitely has to be a team effort. But I didn't appreciate like being referred to as a secretary. And that guy, you know, has been around. So I'm sure like around the 50s, maybe that's when he was born, or, you know, that's what was his heyday. I don't know. But I feel like that reminds me of some of like the people in this book. It was really irritating.
I also think that it's interesting that they both, their backgrounds, like when they grew up, were both pretty
Traumatic.
Yeah, I was gonna say dark, but I guess it's just like sad stories.
Mhm.
And that's why they never talked about it, like until they had to.
Maybe that's why they seem more cold, because they're just like self-protecting and not being vulnerable. Do you does anyone think she's going to continue the rowing hobby now that Calvin is not there?
I don't think so.
Mm-mm.
I feel like they'll be harder on her. They might not let her.
Like a reminder, yeah.
I mean, he also lied about that. He's like, "Oh yeah, they saw you and they thought you were great."
Yeah.
When he said, "You take me and her or nothing," basically.
Mhm.
So back to the whole, I don't know, lying and ego and
Was there a
It
part where the
seems
oh, go ahead, Julie.
it seems like torture doing that exercise.
Yeah. And I think there's a part where Donati like is thinking about them and he's like, I can't believe she's on the rowing team. Was probably like just, you know, she got on it because of Calvin. But I thought she was actually getting good. So that's why I was wondering, like, will she keep up with it? Or like, I don't know, maybe sometimes people do things for like the legacy of a person, you know, like, oh, I mean, this is how I'm gonna like remember him or something.
I think they
But
had mentioned that she was good, right?
yeah, they did.
Before she started training. They were like, "Oh wow." But then she started like, so they mentioned she was good, and then later they kept saying that the boat or the canoe or whatever it is kept flipping,
Mhm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
When it was just them two.
I think so.
That got me confused because I'm like, I thought she was good, but now she keeps falling, and now he's worried she's gonna drown, and I don't know.
I think at the beginning she wasn't good because she was learning, but then because she can't swim, he wanted her in the group of 8 because those are less likely to flip
Mm.
and there's more people around to save her. But also I think like once she got the hang of it and she was thinking about it like purely through a physics lens, she was able to get a lot better at it. That's what I understood anyways. Let me put flags on a few things.
I feel like I want to say the death stuff came in too soon, but at the same time, he did say that like everyone he loved kind of died.
Mhm.
So I feel like I guess it was not necessarily perfect timing, but it was appropriate timing, even though I wouldn't have wanted him to leave. Although we do get that in the beginning when we're reading the intro of the book, you know, she's a single
Mhm.
mom and all that stuff.
I think too, like maybe the author put this guy in for the romance aspect to make it more appealing to people. But then also if the grander narrative is like self-made woman in a time
Mhm.
where it was very hard to be a self-made woman, and be accepted, then by that definition, she can't have like a man with her, you know? Otherwise, it would like defeat what this other theme that she's trying to project. So
Yeah.
I had to kill him off or get rid of him somehow to make
you
like
think-
the story be what she wanted. Go ahead.
Because they killed him off. So we think she's pregnant now and he died. Or do
That's
we
what I'm
think
very
they're
curious
gonna
about.
try and continue putting some romance in there?
I don't know. I feel like it's still like we've got quite a bit of book left already. Still, the little girl was like 8, right?
Yeah, I think so.
So I feel like it could be
Yes.
okay, like timeline wise, that she would be pregnant with Calvin's child.
Mm.
I think that would make it more angsty for sure.
Mm-hmm.
It says it's 1961 when she's making the lunch. I'm trying to see how old the kid is. And also this talk about people taking kids' lunches and eating them is
Yeah.
true. They do that. But it doesn't say, I don't think it says how old the kid is. Oh, she's 5.
Hmm.
5. I think it could be Calvin's, or she could be Calvin's. And then you know what? On page 2, it's weird that the child like knows that it's better to fit in than to show that she can read and everything, even at a young age. And then it says her mother never fit in, and look what happened to her. So maybe I'm sure Elizabeth is going to face more trials.
1961. It could be his.
She's 5, 1961 minus 9 months would be like 55, 54.
I was trying to see if, because it seems like the author is a child right now, right? Or one of the narrators. So I was trying to see if she would like, not mistakenly, but if they ever said like, "Oh, my dad," or like
Mm-hmm.
Madeline's father. But I don't think they ever said that. Keeping it a mystery.
The author is also a rower and has a dog named 99.
Oh,
The actual author.
Yeah, I'm looking at the jacket.
Oh, she's
Oh,
making it
wow.
personal.
Do you want me to read it real quick? It's short. It says, Bonnie Garmis is a copywriter and creative director who has worked widely in the fields of technology, medicine, and education. She's an open water swimmer, a rower, and a mother to 2 pretty amazing daughters. Born in California and most recently from Seattle, she currently lives in London with her husband and her dog 99.
London? Damn, they
Mhm.
mentioned every city. I'm just kidding.
Right?
yeah.
I wonder why 99.
But she got 99 problems, but he ain't one.
I was gonna say.
I was trying to think of something witty too.
I was
Although-
thinking like percentages. Like they were 99% like sure they didn't want another child, so they got a dog.
Ooh.
Oh wow.
Because it's like, oh no, I don't want a kid, I don't want a kid. And they're like, I
Yeah.
wasn't a dog. It's like, oh, okay.
That's funny. I like how she has a pencil in her hair on the front cover too, because it reminds me of when she stabbed the guy with the pencil.
Oh my god, yeah.
I did like that she did that.
I like that I used to put pencils in my hair when I was studying. So that reminded me, I was like, oh, hey, look, that's me. I was too lazy to look for a hair tie. And I was
I remember you doing that, yeah.
like,
I was so annoying the police officer that she was telling him what happened. He didn't even write anything down. That made me mad.
which I feel like I mean, we're not in a perfect world, but back in the day, I know it was worse for
Mhm.
us. Tomorrow's International Women's Day, by the way.
Oh
And
yeah.
Mm.
yeah, it's interesting because I just wonder how much it still happens and is still covered up at, universities. I've been seeing a lot of like people posting about like how poly stuff like I think there's gonna be a protest tomorrow or something. I'm like, oh my
Oh.
gosh.
Oh wow.
Hmm.
Did Calvin put the house in Elizabeth's name too when she didn't know? I think I remember reading that he did that.
I think he put Elizabeth Evans, right?
Mhm.
Mm.
He
I
said
mean,
he was gonna, as soon as obviously she said no, that he was gonna go and change it, but we don't know if
yeah. Mhm.
Maybe that will be a financial help to her when if she realizes she's pregnant
Mhm.
soon. Also, I thought it was kind of shady that Calvin kind of peeked in her personnel file and knew that she didn't make like that much money, which obviously he would have known anyways because women didn't make that much money back then compared to men.
Mhm.
But I thought it was kind of weird.
Yeah, you're right. Like, I didn't realize kind of how horrible he was.
yeah, like they picture him as this, nerdy guy that you kind of would be like, oh, but he's super smart and good looking in some ways, but he doesn't sound that great
There's some
later.
red flags for sure.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I just felt like if I was in a relationship and someone did that, like, and I didn't know, and then I found out later, like, that would be really like an intrusion on privacy, Instead, they could talk about it.
Yeah, maybe she'll find like true love, and then that would make the story happier.
I kind of hope she does, but she's still a single mother when at the beginning, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I wonder if she'll
Gonna be that
also
producer Pine that she is yelling about at the beginning or yelling at.
who's like a single or divorced father.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Yeah, I kind of hinted at that, or it seemed like it.
He was very
he's like
taken.
dumbfounded by her, like had
Yeah.
no.
I also kind of wonder if she's gonna, like, how they said that he has a notebook where he
Mhm.
writes all his like personal notes in between his other work
Mhm.
notes. So I
Mhm.
wonder if she's gonna discover that and actually try to like decode it, and then she'll find more information.
Could be. Mhm.
I also don't really like the audiobook reader. I don't know. It's just crazy. The last book was so good on audiobook.
And she's kind of she makes it sound very light. Or I don't know, she's not as interesting as other because I'm also listening to audiobook.
Mhm.
She's kind of annoying.
Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of fitting for like the book, like this,
It's
like the
fitting.
kind of old school. Well, it's
Mhm.
like the kind of old school
Voice.
scientist
Oh.
voice, but it's just like not that entertaining.
Mm.
It's more like clinical or something.
Mm. I find myself skipping over some of the chem stuff. Like I know I like chem, but I kind of don't want to read it.
Mhm.
Like this is my enjoyment book. I don't want to. I don't know.
Yeah.
I could
Like she's
try
trying a
it.
little too hard with the chemistry stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Like
I guess now that I like this, we're analyzing it. I feel like it's not, the writing doesn't flow as well as like some other texts we've read, although I'm interested in seeing what will happen. I
Mhm.
think it's a little disjointed at parts. I do like reading about the cooking part, but
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just because I'm a cooking nerd.
Trying to figure out the next section. Do you guys think that was an okay read lengthwise?
Yeah.
That's okay.
Let's do.
And it ended on a cliffhanger too.
Yeah, I think it's 189, the next page, but it falls in between a chapter. So I'm gonna cut it shorter, just like a few pages.
Okay.
So then it's chapter 12 to chapter 22. So
Don't read 23.
Don't read 23.
Okay.
Let me put a bookmark on that.
I've already read. I read up to 24 before we started it, so I'll be good.
Oh, I was like, what? But you had already started this book before.
Yeah, I started it like I don't know in December, or
Uh-huh.
maybe before. I've been kind of struggling with finishing it, so at least I'll finish it.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm
At least
definitely
you'll-
not rereading it, but I reread like the last chapter.
You'll get bumped up a little and eventually finish.
Yeah,
And see why people are calling it such a good book. Because
Mhm.
so far I'm not
Here's
getting
the
that
plot.
impression.
Maybe there's a plot twist, and it's like, oh, the narration switches. Like maybe it goes to like her daughter. I don't know. Maybe just something where it's like,
yeah.
I think so, because why would he bring up the daughter?
Mhm.
To make it more
No.
tragic when Calvin dies.
Mm.
like she never met her father.
It's to me, it's more tragic. I'm a sucker for freaking love. So like pobrecitos, they had this like strong, pull how they described it, and they were just like everyone, and not necessarily. Well, I guess they did envy them, because it's like you can tell they just had this like good connection. And
Right.
even when she said no to the marriage, like they were still kind of okay-ish.
Yeah.
You know?
I feel like she would have let him have it though if she knew he went to Donati and then, peeked at her salary and all this. I'm just like, ah.
Yeah, then it started going downhill, and then
So I'm confused. Yeah. I feel like the overall picture, when you view them from across the cafeteria table is like, oh, they're so perfect. But then there's like some, like, I don't know, red flags, I guess.
underlying, yeah, negative.
But you guys are definitely beating it up. I actually thought it wasn't that bad. I was actually kind of excited to read like 3/4. And then
I
thought
do like it. It
growing.
just
it was like, eh.
I'm analyzing it much more now when I hear this different perspectives. I'm like, oh snap, was I like analyzing it?
You
But
cut
I
off.
also I wanted to ask if you all watched the show of Daisy Jones and how did you like it?
Uh-huh.
No, no spoilers, please.
Okay, Darlene, time to exit the meeting.
Guess we're gonna have to wait until next week.
All right, we can wait till next week. I was just curious.
Ah!
Or without spoilers, just say, did he like it? Did he not like it? I liked it.
Which
I
one?
liked it, and I wish they would give us more.
I watched all 3
Episodes.
episodes already.
What are you guys talking about? The series?
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't say
Oh, I don't even have
Darlene hasn't
Prime
watched
yet.
it.
I'm like, I don't even have Prime yet. I'm
Oh.
trying to slowly convince Louise to get Prime. Oh, my back.
I watched it and I agree with Judith. They could have gone into more toward depth than I feel like they're rushing through it.
Mm. Mhm.
Yeah, I think who did I I think I was talking to Dailene about it. I'm like, okay, what part in the book, when Daisy comes over and she's gonna, record Honeycomb. I'm like, what part of the book was that? And I think that was half of it, right? I think that's what Dailene said. Like at least in the half in our second section, we were reading about that.
Oh, that's true. There was a lot of build up to a meeting. I remember us commenting on that.
And I feel like obviously we've got 3 episodes, and I mean I already told Dailene that this is the part where it ends, where they have that song, but I'm like, it did feel like they rushed it, and it's like, oh, we're there already? Like halfway through the book? How?
Mm.
Like I was expecting a little more juice.
Do we know how many episodes it will be?
I didn't research.
Okay, I'll research later. Cool.
Yeah.
I thought it said 10, but I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Do you think I'll say it on the website? Let me see.
I feel like it should.
I like the casting so far.
Wow, they rated it an 8.1 out of 10. Get it?
Yeah, it says 10
Oh yeah, where?
on Google.
Episode
Oh,
count?
okay. So it'll come out like over a month, I guess, if they keep doing 3
Yeah.
episodes.
Well, maybe because it says that on March 10th, it's only gonna be 1.
Oh, dang. Okay.
I just saw that, and I'm so disappointed.
They
Yeah.
teased us with 3 to build up the
I
suspense, and now we're
know.
only gonna get 1. I should have made a schedule for myself instead of binging it.
Same. I binged it as soon as you said
Oh
it's
no,
out.
there's gonna be 3.
3.
Oh, okay.
And then only 2,
they-
and then 2. They'll be done on March 24th.
Yeah, I was
Are they
surprised.
doing that? Is that so you can't just do a week trial?
Oh, maybe.
Oh,
Oh.
Or you just wait till they're all out and then do the week trial.
Yeah.
You could do that.
I'm like, what else? What's the point of it?
yeah, you're right. They're trying to get some money. So yeah, we'll get 3 episodes and 2 then 2. Okay, fine. Only 2 more. Those 2 at the end better be long.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe.
Okay, so for this book, we're reading 22, not 23.
Yes, 22, not 23.
Okay.
Does the Audible match that? I think Kitty was mentioning it was
No,
weird.
I think it's a chapter.
And,
It's a chapter ahead.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, dang.
but I think at the beginning they say the chapters.
Yeah, they do. It's just on the screen it says because I left off on chapter 8, so then I listened to the rest of it, and then it started me on chapter 9, and I was like, wait, when did I make it to chapter 9? But then I realized that it was chapter 8. It's just the screen or the title is chapter 9.
Got it.
Oh yeah, so I think I was in the middle of 23 then, not 24. So that's good.
Then when Paola said she read ahead, she really actually read on track.
Maybe, unless she heard chapter
Not
12.
sure.
But I think she probably did hear chapter 12.
Actual chapter 12?
I think so.
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
Well, we'll find out. Because by her mentioning that there was a big event, I'm like, well, Calvin is dying pretty big.
Yeah.
That's what I
But I
thought.
did see the title of the next one, and it says Calvin's departing gift.
Ooh,
Ouch.
the house, yes, the house or the baby.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if that would be a gift.
Or both.
Yeah.
Damn. My
Or
lover
both,
is
yeah.
gone, and now I'm pregnant. Oh,
What if she
But
freaks out
didn't-
that she's
Didn't
pregnant?
they
She's gonna
also
be like,
mention
yeah.
an how do you say it? Obstetrician? That one of the I don't know why they mentioned that. I kind of can't remember. I listened to that part, so I think I just got lost in the words.
What
But I
Maybe
thought they mentioned that
about what?
one of the doctors being an obstetrician.
Oh yeah, on the rowing team or something.
Yeah. I don't know if that hints at the baby or
I wonder if she'll freak out like, oh my gosh, I'm pregnant. I don't have like money for a child, and then she's gonna find out, okay, I get the house. So then she's like, okay for now.
I don't know.
Okay.
I know this isn't like, I don't know why this popped in my head. Once you said that there was a doctor in the rowing team, and obviously since Calvin is, dead or whatever, and I'm pretty sure that the sperm does not live, but I was like, oh my gosh, they're gonna grab his sperm. She's gonna get a freaking baby. She's like,
Oh
I
my
can't have I
gosh.
know, my brain just like spiraled.
That's super funny though.
It was like,
She's
She's
gonna
gonna
be
be
like
like,
the first IVF ever.
yeah,
The
she's gonna be
dead
like, I have to
person.
keep his memory alive.
exactly. But
I
I'm like,
wonder
oh, she
when
doesn't want
IVF
kids.
started.
I don't know when it started either.
Mm.
But I don't know why my brain did that.
If it
He
goes
doesn't
that
want
route though,
kids
I think I'll be a little disappointed. It's because the whole first section she's been like, I don't want children, I don't want to get
Yeah.
married.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we'll see. We know she's gonna have a child, so
They had birth control at that time, yes? No?
I think so,
Anybody
yeah. I think so. Let me look it up. I'll look up the first IVF too.
Because
Yeah.
why not? Where's synopsis?
December 28th, 1981, the first American test tube baby born. I just put in United States. And first, what am I looking up again? First,
Birth control pills. I think
Thank you.
1960.
Mhm.
Oh,
introduced in May 1950, oral contraceptive pill is a medical innovation that has dramatically transformed generations. So it was
Oh,
around.
1950. Okay.
Thanks for helping, Julie. My working memory is not that strong right now.
Okay.
the-
Condoms were
oh.
invented in
that a latte?
1839.
What are you making, Crystal?
Un chocolatito.
Oh, nice.
Oh,
Oh, there's a few. Before that says, well, birth control was in the 1920s. The
What?
IUD.
oh.
Mm,
Well, technically they had condoms, right?
yeah,
Yeah, so I guess
They
she's
should-
smart.
they should
If
be
she didn't
covered.
want kids, she definitely would be on birth control,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Right?
Pull out.
I wonder what happens then. Maybe it's someone else, or maybe it's gonna be like a ironic, like, oh, 99%
I feel like
effective,
it'll
but
be
this one time it
his.
wasn't.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Why would we bring up Calvin and then it's not even the dad?
Well, the kid is also very smart. Like, if she has two smart parents, most likely that's why she's so advanced.
Or it could be recessive, and she's dumb. I'm just kidding.
Or it could be product of environment.
Unlikely. Yeah. Yeah. Calvin's dad.
Was
The pastor,
also
right?
potentially a scientist. No.
No, when I was gonna say when he was in jail, he wasn't in jail. He was in school, and they're like, "Oh, because of your dad, we have these science books." And they're like, "My
Oh,
dad was a
yeah.
scientist," and they're like, they don't really go into it.
Yeah.
But do we think that's real?
I-
Where like the mom
I
died?
think so, because they said, oh, how did you get to school when you went to the Catholic school? Like, how did they pay all this money?
Mhm.
It's like not every kid went through that, only he did. So I think it's true.
Do we think it's, let's say, a famous, is it no, like one of those famous scientists that just doesn't want to be like, let's say maybe
A parent.
not necessarily a parent, but let's say this kid, like he's already married, he has his family, and this was a kid from like, let's say,
Mistress.
yeah.
Mm.
and maybe that's why.
So you don't
Ye-
think it's true that he loved his mom so much that he couldn't, what did they say, it couldn't hold up?
He couldn't cope.
Oh, couldn't cope. There you go.
I mean, that makes sense. I feel like throughout history, mistresses' kids were like, raised in separate houses or sent off to school and, kind of put on the side. I
I
can
mean,
write
they
that
do
down.
mention, yeah, that the wives are with the children, but
Mhm.
that they still can get like side women.
Side
Didn't
piece.
what's his name?
Donati.
Donati, there you go.
Yeah, I hated how he
Oh, they
said-
made it sound like it was super common to have your side
Yeah.
woman. Yeah, that was annoying
Mhm.
too. Mhm.
Mhm. Have your that was giving me Handmaid's Tale a little bit.
Mm.
Just their mentality. Yeah, I can see that.
Mhm.
Like women are objects.
Yeah.
Oh man, so many themes in the
I don't
book.
know, like what if the dad, because the women at that time were in charge of, taking care of the child at home, but since the
Mhm.
mom died,
You didn't know how to or want to.
he had to do it, but then what if it interfered with his research or his career and he's like, nope, I'm not doing that. Yeah,
Mhm.
close him up.
Could be.
That's a
Yeah, it'd be interesting. Maybe like the dad will come to the funeral and meet
Mhm.
Elizabeth. Maybe Elizabeth will be then already know she'll. Oh, sorry, I can't speak anymore. Maybe Elizabeth will already know she's pregnant, or maybe she'll meet someone at the funeral and like, kindle a new interest. I'm not saying the dad, but like maybe someone.
that's what my head went to, and I was like, no. It's like you knew that my head was like, oh God.
Like, I mean, it could be the dad, but
Oh my
or
God.
like another like scientific colleague of Calvin's that he knows.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of like that movie P.S. I Love You, where he dies, but the guy still wants her to like have her life and move on,
Yeah.
And kind of like in the Daisy Jones book too, where Camila writes like, oh, have him connect back with Daisy now.
Mhm.
So it's funny, Judith.
Oh, man.
Nonverbal communication.
I know, that's so funny. Okay, good night,
Good night,
Crystal.
Crystal.
Good night.
That would be wild if it was the dad, though.
So maybe that's the plot twist that people like.
That's the gift. You meet my dad, and now you
Oh,
have
no.
his baby.
I don't know.
That would be disturbing. I mean, the
He
dad's
didn't
also
have
smart.
brothers. He was
Maybe he has an inheritance. If his dad is loaded from some famous scientific discovery, then she's going to get the inheritance as well as the house. That could be a parting gift.
Let's see. Let's see. That was interesting turn of events.
Yeah.
A series of unfortunate events
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Another saga.
by Lemony Snicket. That's a good one.
I feel like there's a lot of ways this book could go, though. So I am interested.
Yeah.
Overall, I do like it. It is sad, though. It is
And
sad.
it's like easy to read, but I do feel like the author is trying too hard with the chemistry.
Mhm.
Maybe she's a nerd like that and she's like, this is what I like, here you go.
Mhm.
Yeah, I
People
guess
who are like me will understand.
I do like the science in the book. I'm just curious to see where it will go, because I feel like the lessons in chemistry is like her relationships with people. But if she doesn't get in another relationship and Calvin has, died, like the pun's kind of like only towards the beginning of the book, I guess. I'm curious.
Mhm. We shall see.
We
Okay.
shall see.
I'll see you all next week.
Mhm.
That's what is it? The 14th?
Yeah, I think so. Oh, it's Pie Day. We shall bring pie.
Ooh, bring your pies.
Bring your pizza pie or pumpkin pie.
I always forget.
Mhm.
I'll try to remember. Okay, so don't read 23. Read up to 22. Yeah. Have a good night. Happy Women's Day. tomorrow.
Happy Women's Day.
Happy International
Show them
Women's
who's
Day.
the boss.
Good
Okay, bye.
night.
Bye,
Good
everyone.
night.
Night.